What is Retro Law? It's a show where passionate gamers talk about some of their favorite retro video games, consoles, and memories. A lot of times the games, consoles, and peripherals themselves are actually shown on the Old School Law show. So find out what happens when Endgame Arcade goes Black Friday shopping at some retro video game stores for the Retro Law crew. What will I find? What will they buy? And what hidden gems, box copies, white whales, and holy grails will I come across? Sit back and enjoy. I'm gonna go Black Friday retro video game hunting to see what I can find. I might as well send a text to the Retro Law group chat to see if they need anything in particular. Maybe they can feature it in an upcoming Retro Law show. Alright, Dantron with some great stuff here. TurboGrafx 16 Mini, that's gonna be tough to come by. Love me some Super Metroid and Eternal Darkness. Hopefully I can find those for him. Great choice with Super Mario RPG, but I do wonder if the prices are gonna be inflated on that one with the remake just coming out. Neo Geo games, Sega Saturns, and Dreamcast? Man, this is some hardcore stuff here. Alright, Wales is looking for some NES games here. Nice! Oh, some Super Nintendo games too? Some all-timers on this list, including 3 Castlevanias, another Super Metroid, Turtles in Time, and Contra 3 The Alien Wars. Those are 3 of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games. These are some great choices, Wales. Looks like Wolfman's not looking for anything in particular. He has most of his stuff still in the box, which is awesome. Well, hello there to you too, Late at the Smackdown. I love it. Original Metal Gear Solid complete in the box. You got Turtles in Time, Super Mario Kart, 2 of my favorites. And I love Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks for the PlayStation 2. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Alright, problem solved with Eric's looking for a Super Nintendo. Preferably not a yellow one. Perfect. I'll keep my eyes peeled. Oh, so list of games too. So Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, some amazing games here. Hidden Gem, Metal Warriors. Oh, more games. Final Fantasy 3 is amazing. Oh, more games yet. Oh my gosh, Eric, how many games are you wanting? The entire library? You got some heavy hitters here for sure. Alright, I'll keep my eyes peeled, but we gotta get that Super Nintendo first. Well, lucky for Eric, I found a Super Nintendo that's not yellow, just like he requested. It looks like it's in pretty decent shape. The price is $95 plus $10 for a second controller. I'm gonna text him and see what he says. Perfect, Eric wants a Super Nintendo, sold. And best of all, it's $10 cheaper when it rung up at the cash register. Dantron, I found that TurboGrafx 16 Mini you were looking for, $219.99? Nope, thumbs down. Alright, on to the next one. Also came across the Sega Saturn that Dantron was looking for, $149.99 with 25% off? Nope, thumbs down. Moving on. I did find a Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation 1, however it's the greatest hits label. Let's see if Late at the Smackdown wants it. Nope, looks like he wants the original black label, which I don't blame him. Sorry man, I couldn't find it. I figured you didn't want this one, but I wanted to double check. Wales, I found 2 copies of Bionic Commando on the NES for $9.99 plus discount. You want in on one of these? Fantastic! I'll get you the best copy and you now own a copy of Bionic Commando on NES. Congrats! Alright, Wales, I think I hit the jackpot here. I found some more games off your NES list. Contra, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and DuckTales. There's a nice selection of NES games here. You have Dragon Warrior, Castlevania, Super Mario Bros. 3, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Dr. Mario, Ninja Gaiden 2, Star Tropics, Super Mario Bros. 2, a lot of heavy hitters. Oh wow, and they have some box copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for $99.99 and TMNT 2, the arcade game, for $149.99. I remember playing both of these games on the NES at my friend's house back in the day. TMNT was such a hard game, and anyone that's gotten to that water level at the dam knows exactly what I'm talking about. I know Wales isn't a big fan of this game because he nominated this on the Retro Law Worst Gaming Experiences episode, but I definitely did have some fun with this game as well. I enjoyed swapping between the 4 different turtles for the different levels, even though it did seem like Donatello was by far the best, so you wanted to keep him alive the longest. And I did enjoy the top-down view for the map, where you could traverse the city streets, go in the sewers or inside the buildings for the different levels. I thought that was a nice touch back in the day. Although I do agree with Wales, this game was brutal, it was punishing, and it did take out some of the fun that the Saturday morning cartoon gave you. As for TMNT 2, the arcade game, we put many hours into this game, as we both loved playing the actual arcade machine in the ball. The NES port was nowhere near as good, but we did enjoy playing 2-player co-op at home, and the NES port even added a couple levels with new boss fights and stuff, which we thought was really cool at the time. Alright, Wales, it's decision time on Contra. Are you going to take it for $34.99 with 25% off, or am I putting it back on the shelf? Awesome, sold. Contra's an amazing game. You're gonna have a great time with it. All right, Wales, you're gonna have to make another decision. DuckTales for the NES, $24.99 plus the 25% off. Decision time, what do you think? Fantastic, Wales wants it. We're gonna put it on the pile and move on to the next one. All right, Wales, I got one more for you. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. You already have the first Castlevania on NES? You want this one as well? Of course you do. You knocked off 4 of your 6 NES games. You're doing really well so far. And now we're going to move on to the Super Nintendo games. They have some all-time greats boxed here for Super Nintendo. However, they're very expensive. Super Metroid, $299.99, and Super Castlevania 4, $274.99. They have Mega Man X for $139.99 and Mega Man X2 for $449.99, and that includes damage to the manual and box. Wow. Okay, business is picking up. Chrono Trigger, $899.99 complete in box, and TMNT Turtles in Time, $269.99. Dantron, you listening? So even though Problem Solve with Eric wants pretty much every Super Nintendo game ever mentioned on any episode of Retro Law, he's gonna pass for now. Lay at the Smackdown says the price isn't right. And Whale says, good lord, I want to play my games. I don't want to look at them in the box, so I'll wait and I'll get them loose. And here's some more notable games. Not sure if these are good prices, but Super Metroid, $64.99, Mario Kart, $34.99, Killer Instinct, $16.99, Saturday Night Slam Masters, $34.99, and some other ones too. Super Metroid's still on 3 people's list, so it's first come, first serve. Who wants Super Metroid? Sold to Dantron 69K for $64.99 plus 25% off. Wolfman agrees that's a super solid price, typically goes for $60 to $65. Meanwhile, Wales wants dibs on the next copy of Super Metroid. We have even more Super Nintendo goodness with the Super Scope 6 loose for $64.99. Not sure if it comes with the game or not. There's also a loose copy of Super Castlevania 4 and also a copy of Super Off-Road the Baja if anyone's interested. Awesome! Dantron's interested in the Super Scope 6, thinks it's a steal at that price, which I completely agree. Oh wait, he's gonna pass, I guess. Okay, well I'm still gonna check and see if the Super Scope 6 game's included with it, because that'll even sweeten the deal, and maybe it'll change his mind. Okay, it's not included originally, but they said they'll throw it in since we're buying a bunch of other things. Alright, Dantron, what do you think? Darn, Dantron said he'd love to have it so much, but he's gonna have to pass for right now. Dang it! I know he loves some peripherals, and I agree, it's a really nice price, and I think it would be great to see this peripheral, the Super Scope 6, on a future Retro Law Peripherals episode. I don't know, man. Bearded Man Arcades in the house says Endgame purchased the Super Scope 6 on my behalf, send me the cost and ship it to Dantron. No questions asked. That is fantastic. I was honestly thinking the exact same thing. I'm so glad that you said this. Makes the decision easy. I'm going to chip in on this with you, and we're going to get this for Dantron 69K. Merry early Christmas, Dantron. The only 2 Super Scope 6 games they have is Tin Star for $12.99 and Battle Clash for $5.99. Dantron remembers playing Battle Clash as a kid. I'm going to see if they can throw this in as well. We're buying a bunch of stuff here. Hopefully they'll do it. Fantastic, they will. Dantron, this is your lucky day. You're not only going to get a Super Scope 6, a Super Scope 6 game, and Battle Clash. Merry Christmas, bud. Alright, Wales is interested in Super Castlevania 4. In my opinion, that's an amazing game. Wolfman chimes in, says snag that, Wales. He knows his retro video games and his retro video game prices. Wales, what do you say? Awesome, sold. Super Castlevania 4, you won't regret it, Wales. Alright, Wolfman's interested in that Super Off-Road Baja that I showed earlier. Oh, Lance the Smackdown chimes in, says he loves Super Off-Road. Wolfman says, I'll take it. It's a no-brainer at $5.25 after the discount. Sold. I guess Lance the Smackdown didn't realize this was Super Off-Road Baja. This is not the one that he loves, apparently. Wolf, with that new information, do you still want Super Off-Road the Baja? Sounds like he's backing out. Okay, but he will buy it for Lance the Smackdown if he wants it. Lance the Smackdown definitively says he is not interested. Apparently, it's one of those situations where you really loved the first game and you thought the second game was going to be amazing too. You got it and played it and it was terrible and you were very disappointed. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this store. I'm going to go to one more store, so we'll see what we find. Alright, they have a nice selection of NES games, a bunch of the Mega Man games, Mega Man 1, $99.99, Mega Man 3, $24.99, Mega Man 5, $159.99, and Mega Man 6, $59.99. Some great news on the Super Nintendo front. They have 2 copies of Super Metroid here for $59.99, which is $5 cheaper than what Dantron paid, but I'm going to see if they'll price match since the same guy owns both stores. Also, Contra 3, The Alien Wars for $49.99, Super Mario Kart for $34.99, and of course, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for $39.99. And remember, all these games are 25% off. I see a Mario Paint tucked away there. I used to love playing Mario Paint. And then I see a hidden gem, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, $49.99 plus 25% off. And here we have some box copies. We got the 7th Saga for $79.99, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs for $129.99. Love that game. Battle Clash Complete in Box, $24.99, and Donkey Kong Country, a classic, $89.99. Oh wow, they definitely have some heavy hitters here. Final Fantasy III, $374.99. I actually own this mint complete in box with the map and manual. I love this game. A box copy of Final Fight 2 for $279.99. A buddy and I, we used to play this all the time. Brings back some great memories. And Flanex, which is a shmup shoot 'em up game. Wolfman, you just bought this game recently. They're wanting $149.99 boxed. And here's some more awesome games. Super Star Wars, $44.99. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, $49.99. Secret of Mana, $149.99. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, $159.99. We'll scroll through the N64 section as well, as there's a bunch of box copies here, including GoldenEye for $49.99, Banjo-Tooie $119.99, Batman Beyond $189.99, Castlevania Legacy of Darkness $274.99, Banjo-Kazooie $89.99, Mario Golf $59.99, Mario Party $119.99, Mario Party 2 $89.99, Mega Man 64 $149.99, Mystical Ninja $249.99, Ogre Battle 64 $199.99, everyone's favorite Superman 64 in the box $59.99. It's actually really impressive how many box copies of the N64 games they have here. You have Rampage, Rayman 2, the San Francisco Rush games, Snowboard Kids, South Park. You have Star Wars Battle for Naboo. Oh man, Star Fox 64, I love that game. That's my personal favorite Star Fox game. And we actually brought this game up on a recent Retro LAW Super Nintendo episode where we compared the Star Fox for Super Nintendo with the Star Fox 64. It was a pretty good episode, so definitely check it out. You also have your Tony Hawk games, your Turok, and of course your WCW and WWF wrestling games, which are classics on the Nintendo 64. Okay, I got a little distracted there with Super Mario Bros. 3 holding that sealed copy in my hand. Oh man, it was amazing. Anyway, back to it. There was a lot of chat going on while I was going through all the N64 games. So Wales, what's it going to be? Contra 3 The Alien Wars, yes or no? And Wales is gonna pass on Contra 3 The Alien Wars. I totally get it though. He says he can get it for 30, 35 loose, so this is a little high for him. Alright, moving on to Super Metroid. Wales, what's it gonna be? $59.99 plus 25% off? You want this or you passing? Awesome, Wales wants it. We're gonna put it in his stack, and he's got a nice collection of games going home with them. Alright, Wolfman, you're up next. The Legend of the Mystical Ninja. What do you think of the condition? $49.99 plus 25% off? Are you in or you out? Alright, sold! Wolfman, you're the proud owner of the Legend of the Mystical Ninja on Super Nintendo. Congrats! Lay at the Smackdown says Mystical Ninja is one of his favorites. Problem Solved with Eric says, bro, you are the Mystical Ninja. And great news, Dantron, they said they'd price match Super Metroid, so $5 off for you, buddy. Dantron says, sweet, thanks for asking. Alright, Eric, I asked him if I could take some pictures of everything that's included with Secret of Mana. Here you go. Alright, Eric, it's decision time. Option 1, Super Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, and Super Metroid for $134.97 plus 25% off. Or Option 2, The Secret of Mana, complete in-box, instruction manual, map, everything. $149.99 with 25% off. Let me know in the comments down below, which option would you choose if you could have one or the other? Would you rather have the option with Super Mario Kart, The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, and Super Metroid all loose? Or would you rather have a complete in-box Secret of Mana? Eric decided to go with the complete in-box Secret of Mana. Nice work. Saying sacrifices must be made. Dantron chimes in and says that's a good deal for a box copy. And congrats goes out to the entire Retro LAW crew and all of your games that you got. And now I'm going to showcase all the items that I got today for the Retro LAW crew and why they decided they wanted these items today. So Wales got Bionic Commando for the NES, and he says, man, this game was fun and difficult at the same time. I love the music and gameplay. Being a soldier with a bionic arm, grappling hook, and a bazooka, what's not to love? I have fond memories with this game and almost beat it, but I lost it in the shuffle while moving and always wanted it back. Well, Wales, you finally got it back. Wales also picked up the Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and he says this. This is the OG Castlevania sequel on NES, and I never owned it, but I did get to play it at friends' houses, had the original and loved it, so this had to be found and played. My goal is to own the first 4 Castlevania games, and with today's purchases, I'm only missing Castlevania 3 on the NES. Wales also picked up a copy of the Konami classic Contra, and he says this. There isn't much to say about Contra. Amazing game, great graphics for the day, and 2-player action was unparalleled. I spent many hours on this game, and I was completely devastated when it was lost due to the move, and it was going to be replaced come hell or high water. I love this game, and it still holds up today. Darn right it does, Wales. Contra's an amazing game. And the last NES game that Wales picked up today was Disney's DuckTales, and he says this. Played this game a lot in my youth as I was a huge fan of the cartoon. I loved Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers as well. The gameplay in this game was great, the characters were spot on, and the sound and music were enjoyable. My wife also loved this game growing up, so we played it some together, before it was sadly lost in the move. But we're glad to have it back today, and we definitely plan on playing it again soon. Wales also picked up a copy of Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo, and he says this about it. I played this as a kid, but never got to own it. I hardly remember it, honestly. Just remember that it was very difficult. Fast forward to today, and this amazing group that accepted me and all of my nerdiness recommended Super Castlevania 4 that I give it another shot. And thanks to Endgame, I'll hopefully be able to one day finish it. And last but not least, Wales also picked up a copy of Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo, and he says this about it. I fell in love with the NES Classic, and this game went over the top in terms of updating, continuation, gameplay, colors, graphics, and most importantly, the story and the replayability. I lost both games in the move, and while emulation is great, physically owning these games again is truly bliss. Wolfman ended up walking away with a game that he's been looking for many years, and that's The Legend of the Mystical Ninja for Super Nintendo, and he says this about it. This was a game that I played at a friend's house when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. It is an action RPG with cool graphics and neat Eastern-infused tunes. It was one of my white whales for many years. I never saw the game in the wild. The price was just too good to pass up. Thanks, Endgame. Dantron69K walked away with not only Super Metroid, but also a Super Scope 6 and Battle Clash and Super Scope 6 game to go with it. And he has many memories actually playing all these games together, and this is what he says. I never owned Super Metroid, Battle Clash, or the Super Scope 6, but my friend did, and I recall the smell of pizza rolls and Mountain Dew during one of our many sleepovers, staying up to the wee hours in the morning, playing both Super Metroid and the Super Scope 6. I could barely lift my arms after an extended play session with that Super Scope 6. It was so dang heavy, and it was also so much fun, and those memories I hold dear. And last but certainly not least, we have Problem Solved with Eric, and he walked away with the complete in-box Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo, and he has some great memories with him and his friend talking about it at school. And he says, my friend at school was telling me about how he stayed up all night beating Secret of Mana with his friend, 2-player co-op. I didn't even know you could play 2-player co-op in the game, let alone 3-player co-op, so I went straight home that day and tried it. It absolutely blew my mind. So I beat it 3-player co-op the next weekend with my friends in one day. We played it day and night until we beat it. It was an all-time favorite gaming memory of mine. And that brings us to the end of this Retro Law Video Game Hunting episode. It was so much fun being a part of the chat, trying to find what I could for the guys. Lay at the Smackdown, sorry I couldn't find any of the things on your list, but I definitely tried. And I know there was a lot going on in this video, but I was trying to recapture the experience of Black Friday shopping while the group was chatting, texting me, and I was trying to find the best deals that I could among the chaos of Black Friday. So make sure you take the time, rewatch the video. Let me know if you spot something in the background, an Easter egg, a collectible that you always wanted, maybe a rare peripheral that you never had as a kid. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. And another thing I want to mention is that all the guys that were featured in this group chat in this video, they're all very passionate gamers, and more importantly, they're great dudes. So please check out their content. They have YouTube channels, Bearded Men Arcades has an Etsy store. They're all very passionate about all things video games, including retro gaming, emulation, and modern gaming too. So you're sure to find something that you'll love. Problem Solved with Eric has some great tutorials, unboxings, and reviews on his channel. Wales is planning on creating a YouTube channel, having Sunday Fun Days, so keep your eyes peeled. Lay at the Smackdown has some hilarious skits focusing on gaming and has some terrific Megacade videos. Shadow Gaming started out as a podcast and he's evolved onto YouTube with group chats about Castlevania and Mortal Kombat franchise, among other things. And of course you have Dantron69K and Wolfman, hosts of the OSL Retro Law Show, where we all enjoy guesting on there, talking about all things retro gaming, consoles, peripherals, and even some of our least favorite experiences. Maybe you'll even see some of the stuff that you saw in this video pop up on a future episode of Retro Law. And Dantron even streams live on Twitch and posts those videos on YouTube, playing those old school consoles like a Neo Geo or a Sega Dreamcast. So definitely check out his channel and everyone else's channel, and head on over to Bearded Man Arcade's Etsy store. You never know what you might find. If you like the video, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up, ring that notification bell, and I'd love to hear some comments down below on some of your favorite retro games, the consoles, the platforms, the peripherals. And remember, we're in the endgame now.